Shalom. First off, I want to start off by saying all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kakadash. So all praises to the world and he calls God, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh. And the name for the only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai. Also, I want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy of elect preaching, word, and truth and sincerity. Risking your life and freedom to do so, following this truth, man. I'm the brother Tazabah in the Great Millstone, Arizona camp. Lord will, with another video to edify. And I wanted to get into this video, and I'll just open this up with a scripture. This Habakkuk 2:2. It says, "And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth." And what is the vision? It's the prophecies. The scriptures talk about there's many gifts, but we desire rather to prophesy. And that's what the men at Great Millstone do, man. We look out into the world and we go into the prophecy. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time," right? "But at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." And we're obviously in the times of this stuff no longer tarrying, because left and right you can see prophecy is speaking. So as you see on the screen, there's a video by RT. It says, "Brutal crime wave slams America." So I'm gonna play a little bit of this. I'm gonna cherry pick this a little bit, and Lord willing, this is all edifying. I also want to say this video is being used solely for educational purposes. I do not gain anything from playing this movie. No monetary is gained from this. This is simply being used for educational purposes.
The outpouring of grief and anger is once again happening here in America, following 2 mass shootings and multiple acts of random crime, resulting in the loss of innocent lives. However, what makes the last 2 weeks' crime sprees different from other weeks is that for the first time, almost every demographic is represented, not only as victims, but also as perpetrators.
Hey, so you heard what she said, right? This is Matthew 24. Everybody's being represented by this. Why? Because we're at the end, and the Lord said these things will happen. Matthew 24 and forgive me. Matthew 24 and I'll go right to the point. Verse 12, it says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." That's what we're seeing. That's what she's getting into. Violent crime sweeping across the nation, where not only the victims, but the perpetrators are representative of every group out there. Let me grab this other scripture. Salakia. This is Isaiah 19 and I started 1. This is the burden of Egypt. "Behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst." It says, "And I will smite the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." That's what you're seeing. The Egyptians, all these so-called Americans, are at each other's necks, no matter what subgroup they belong to. It says, verse 3, it says, "The spirit of Egypt shall fell in the midst thereof." And what was the spirit of America? We're all into this together. We're all Americans. All that's felon. And one of the other spirits of America was everybody that comes here picks on the Negro. And it looks like everybody else is getting picked on at the same time, because the curses are starting to fall upon our enemies. It says, "And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to wizards." Now, place a little more. I'm gonna jump a little ahead in this video.
Correct or fit a narrative?
No, absolutely not. No one is interested in discussing the facts before us. Nobody wants to talk about what really happened, what didn't happen, what usually happens. No, if you bring up race, gender, geographic location, if you talk about anything other than a blanket statement that it's a tragedy, you'll get into trouble. Or if you can somehow work in that we need to work on comprehensive gun laws, because you see, if we had gun laws, this wouldn't happen. Now you might be saying, but we have murder laws too. Why would those laws not work? Well, that's a good question. But to answer your question very succinctly, no, we can't. We have to just mouth the usual acceptable platitudes and move on, lest we feel the doom of consternation fall upon us.
Well,
Now, they're talking about all this in the scenes like, what, can we have the correct talk to address these issues? But if the Lord's Spirit is moving these people to do this, what can you do? Now, I had to fast forward a bit because I'm not trying to get all the little clips they show of random fight scenes against these so-called Asians, which are really just the Moabites and Ammonites. Because they're trying to paint these people as being extreme victims, when really you come over here and you have more rights than niggas. You got more rights than Iskarites, the so-called Mexicans, man. Now I'm gonna let this play and then I'm gonna get a scripture
that we saw initially that came out had any long-term effect on bringing the spotlight to the anti-Asian hate crimes that are happening in America today?
Well, I think what happened in Atlanta, I think really galvanized the Asian American community, who before that, I think we kind of felt like we were the invisible minority. I mean, we were often used as the model minority myth, and we're not a monolithic group, right? People have different experiences, different waves of different groups of Asians that came here. So we've had very different experiences. I want to address real quickly the white supremacy, that people are.
Now I gotta get this. Now she said we thought that the so-called Asian community thought that they were the basically invisible minority, and nothing would ever really happen to them. Now, this scripture I'm gonna read, this is surely applies to Esau, but you can apply it to all these nations because it's in their same mind that nothing's ever gonna happen. This is Jeremiah 49:12. It says, "For thus say Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of that cup, of the cup have assuredly drunken," which is whose judgment was not to drink of the cup of judgment? Israel, right? Because we were given the law, statutes, and commandments, and we were supposed to follow them, and through following them, we would have assured peace and prosperity. But because we didn't, we drank of the cup, and we were sent into what? Judgment. It says, "And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it." And that's what we're seeing, because these curses are starting to fall upon our enemies, man. They're starting to fall upon our enemies, and that goes back into the book of Exodus, I believe. This is Exodus, I think it's 30:7. Let me see. Or is it Deuteronomy 30? Yeah, Deuteronomy 30:7. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." And one of those people that hated us and persecuted us, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, were the so-called Asian communities, man. I can't tell you how many videos I can find online where these same people are dogging Jake the fuck out, and their little children, kids that ain't had a chance to live on their own, have a nicely developed hatred for the tribes, talking shit like they really been through it with the tribes like that, you know. So I'm gonna play this next little part.
Victims matter. That's what we should be talking about.
Good versus evil. And Lionel, I want to bring you in on an element that we haven't brought up, is that do you think that there are actually people, and I think we can actually all agree, that there are people and there are groups that actually benefit from a continued hostile atmosphere and discourse? But are we allowing ourselves as a society to be manipulated by those groups to not find a solution, to not have that empathy? Are they actually taking advantage of this situation, unfortunately, at the cost of continued lives that we're losing?
Well, the answer is yes. And let me tell you, you're not going to find a solution to this. There's always been crime, and crime over a period of time escalates. But let me say something right now. I hate crimes. I hate that term, because if you can tell me what...
Now, he said a crime over a period of time increases, right? So this is Salakia. Second Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16. And yeah, I gotta start at 15. It says second Ezra 16 and 21. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, that they should think themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sore famine and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. And so evils are multiplying. We see this. This is prophecy, you know. The Lord's cooking this stuff up for a reason. Now let me get this, and now I'll let it play out. Now I'll give my last two.
Love crime is good for you. Do you know what happens to a prosecutor who has to prove a hate crime? Let's say in any of the cases you have right here. It'd be so easy to go in there and say, I have to prove that this defendant intended to kill or hurt these people. That's it. Point them out, identify them, and that's done. But now, when you call it a hate crime, part of my level of proof, part of my burden of proof, is I've got to prove the motivation and the animus. And if I can't prove that the reason why these people in Atlanta were attacked was because they're Asian, or the reason why this Asian woman in Brooklyn was attacked because she was just there versus she was an Asian person, then I'm going to lose my case. We love this term hate crime. It's a hobgoblin. You don't want to do that. You don't want to complicate the case. And I must say this quickly. Ever since I can remember as a kid, everybody's been always trying to confuse correlation and cause. We have been hearing everything in my lifetime, from Ozzy Osbourne to before that to Frank Sinatra to Elvis to you name it, right, to video games. If you look at cultures like Japan that have historically some of the most violent video games and culture at their hands, you don't see this. There is something that is malignant in our culture. What it is, what causes it, you tell me. We are a unique people. And very quickly, don't give me this business about guns, because there are more guns in Mexico and other places than here. But the reason why they kill each other is because of drugs. We kill each other because we're having a bad day. We kill each other because we can't get a date, or we're forcibly celibate. We are a demented society. Right. That's the problem.
Hey, and this is all scripture speaking, man. This is 2 Timothy 3. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Hey, this is an evident token of the times we're in, man. 2 Timothy 3 and 1. It says, know this. It says, this know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, head-minded, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. And this is the same time we're in, man, because perilous times are here and there's great confusion. Now I'm gonna end it on this scripture. This is gonna be in the book of Genesis. Now you gotta take in mind when you talk about this stuff. Remember, the Lord said what? All scripture is given and is profitable for reproof and instruction in righteousness, right? And it also says that all things were written aforetime for our learning. Now, when you go back to Genesis, what happened within that time, right? The flood. Now, why did the flood come? It says Genesis 6:5. It says, and the Most High saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And we're in the same time now. So what did the Lord do when he saw this? He flooded the earth. So what's the Lord going to do now? He's going to burn it up, you know? So Lord willing, this is edifying, man. I'm going to say, call Allah, Yahweh Bashim El Shai, Bashim Kakadash, double understand the elders and apostles of great millstone, peace and mercy to Ophalek. Shalom.